What's up, guys? Back with another video. Been away from YouTube for a minute. It's just because I had a couple things I had to sort out, right? But everything's handled. I had to go learn the game so I could come bring you guys the game, right? Last thing I want to be doing is sitting on here just talking about shit I know nothing about, right? So what I was doing while I was gone is I had a felony on my record, right? In California, you could expunge that, get it set to the side, however they want to word it, but technically it's still on your record, okay? It does drop off in the sense to where you could go get a normal background check for, say you want to work at Target, McDonald's, warehouse, rent an apartment, things like that, it's okay. But once you start getting into like licensing, whether that be barber, some people are EMTs, shit, even if you want to sell homes, right, you got to have a license. So those licenses that you have to take a fingerprint for, it's still going to come back and show that you have that felony. So you keep in mind there's a box on this form that you could check and have all of it done at once. However, in my case, that box wasn't checked. So it was a formality. It's something I had to go back and get handled. However, a couple things I did have working for me was, one, the motion to set it aside, expunge it, was granted, so that helps a lot. But also the fact that it's been 13 years since this charges even came up. I have no prior charges before that or any charges after that. So just good behavior, just taking care of business, right? And one thing I stand on is just being a man and accepting responsibility. So pretty much that's what I did. I took my charge, took it on the chin, and got to work. Paid that restitution, worked full time, went to school, got a career, right? So, in the sense, I don't really even need to get it taken off, but it's something I wanted for myself, right? Get that monkey off my back and just move on, right? You know, I stepped up, I accepted my time, did what I needed to do like a man, and it's only right that we get that shit taken care of. So, all in all, I spoke to a lawyer. These dudes were talking about fucking 2 G's to gather information that they were going to ask me for. So, why would I not just do it myself, right? So, looking further into the law, that is my right to do it myself. So, anyways, I did entertain the fact that, you know, the lawyer said he was going to do it. He helped with my prior conviction, getting it expunged. So I was under the impression this was an easy fix. You know, he was misleading me like he was going to take care of it. Just went ghost. Got a text message one day like, hey, bud, I can't do it. All right, cool. No biggie. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to try and persuade you. It is what it is. So next step was do my research. I researched the public defender's office does have a department where they help you with cleaning your record. Call them, get the runaround, get told it's a conflict of interest, but I can't tell you what that conflict is. Okay, so mind you, I'm trying to display that, you know, I'm changed, rehabilitated, whatever you want to word it as, and so yelling at these people is not going to help me. So didn't even bother yelling, complaining. Okay, cool. You don't want to help me? It's all good. We live in an era where there's so much information. You just have to find it and apply it. So, you know, I jumped on ChatGPT. Started doing my research, picked apart the whole law in California and how it works. And that shit straight up listed out all the documents I needed. So, print these documents, take a look at it, and, you know, thank God I could read, because apparently in America people can't read much anymore, so I had that going for me. And I'm reading through this and I'm like, oh shit, I could get all this stuff myself. So, gather all the information, put together a packet, just how ChatGPT lined it out. I promise you, by the time I walked into this courtroom, I knew more about expungements, the 17B motion, getting strikes taken off your record, reducing a charge from a felony to a misdemeanor. Some people think once it's expunged, you can't do anything after that. That's completely false, right? So, dude, I walked in there, I promise you, I knew more about the law than the judge and the district attorney, given they have to study a broad range of law, where I specifically just focused on this and went to work. So, anyways, walk in. Let me back up a little bit. Put together the packet. Put together all my evidence. Put together a packet for myself, the district attorney, and the judge. Okay, the one for myself was going to have stamps for along the whole process, from when I submit it to the court to when I walk across the street and submit it to the district attorney. They're going to stamp it. Everything's going to be stamped, so I have that evidence as well as all their packets being stamped the same way. So there's none of that, I didn't receive the paperwork, anything like that, because I did hear that that's an issue, and I did read that's an issue when you mail it in, that when you go to court, the DA could be like, hey, we never received this, we need more time. So I worked to eliminate that by having it served to them in person. Now, show up to the first court date. Oh, well, first of all, they take all the paperwork, didn't even give me any pushback. Matter of fact, the face she made when she looked at the paperwork was like, okay. And I knew we were on to something. So, show up to the court date, which was a month out. Walk in. And mind you, I picked apart the DA's track record, the judge's track record, where they came from, where they worked, everything, how they swing on the law, how they view these type of motions. And I was ready. So I was surprised when I walked in and seen it was in a different courtroom with a different judge and a different district attorney. No biggie, right? Because we've done the work. We took care of business. So it's my turn to go up. The district attorney is like, well, I just got this today, so, Your Honor, I want to push this forward to another court date. And that is not what I wanted to hear, right? But at the same time, just like I treated the person on the phone, I just need to accept that and realize, hey, it's all good. It's not a no. These things happen. Was it what I wanted to hear? No. But is it going to stop me? No. Right? For a couple of reasons I'll go into later. But ended up pushing it back, going to that court date. And the district attorney, it's the one it's supposed to be, and it's the judge it's supposed to be. So I'm sitting there, everybody gets called up. For some reason, I'm the last one sitting there, and the district attorney walks out, and she's like, are you Andrew? Yeah. Oh shit, are you representing yourself? Yeah. Oh man, I've been waiting for you this whole time. So, pure mistake on my part, because I should have been in the courtroom. You know, I'm representing myself. I'm the judge. And usually when the lawyers are in the courtroom, that's when they're working out these deals prior to going up to the judge's bench and wasting his time, right? Usually you want to show up with a resolution, just certify it. That's really all he's there to do, is certify it, and that's it, right? So she starts asking me questions, like grilling me. Or what I interpreted at the moment was her grilling me. What are you trying to do here? Why do you need this? You've already been granted your expungement. And then I had to break it down to her, like, listen, yeah, that works for the average Joe, but when you're trying to get licensing, it doesn't work like that. And I just thought that was common knowledge. So I don't know. My apologies, right? And she's like, no, I'm just asking because the judge is going to ask. What are we doing here? So I give her all the information. I show her, yes, it's needed. She comes back out and is like, hey, we might have to push this to a different court date a month from now. I was like, oh, no, I've done that once, right? And I wasn't going to do that again. So unfortunately, the district attorney has already used their time to pass. Now, how it works is if I choose to continue to another court date, it resets and we both get another continuance. But since they use theirs, I don't have to use mine. It's my right to a speedy trial. It's my right to refuse to do that, right? Hey, I gave you one. I don't want to use mine. I'm ready to go today. So, and that's what I told her. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm ready to go today. I was ready to go last time we were here. Oh, well, we're waiting on this, that. If you looked at the packet, all of that is in there. She tried to say, oh, we need to get your background check. We need to get something from probation, all this, yada, yada. It's all in the packet. So, which I'll come on in another video and show you the packet and how I constructed it, just so you know it's not bullshit, and show you the stamp. So she's like, well, let me see. And I hear her in there talking, and as I hear her coming back to the door, she's like, oh, I got it. And so she comes out, she goes, hey, we're ready to roll. We're just waiting on your background check because, we can't undo this if you got charges pending, right? So just a liability standpoint, I understand that, but again, figure it out. That's not my problem. So I guess they got the background check and it was good, just like it was in the packet. But again, it's not time to be an asshole. It's not time to say I told you so. We're there strictly on business. So cool. The judge is like, hey, so what's up? What are we doing here? This is what we're doing. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. He goes, well, probation's saying they don't agree with that. The look on my face when I told him, all due respect, Your Honor, I really don't care what they have to say because, one, I'm not on probation. Two, I haven't been on probation for over 7 years. And if they had a problem with it, they should have addressed it when it was time for me to get off. And third of all, I got off probation early. So if they really had something to say, why did they let me off early? And he goes, I agree. I'm looking at this packet. I'm seeing nothing but, job well done. You got countless certifications. You got a lot of stuff in here. Like you said, they voiced their opinion. I don't have to follow that. So I'm going to go ahead and grant this. Is that good with you? And I was like, I don't know if I was just in shock that I didn't answer or what, but he goes, is that what you want? And I was like, well, I guess they could tell I was confused. So he goes, off the record, I can't tell you what to do, but I will tell you this is what you're trying to accomplish here. Even the DA, the one who's trying to work against me, was even like, yeah, this accomplishes what you're trying to do. There's nothing much we could do. All you got to do is say yes. And they're like, you good to go? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool. We're back on the record. Do you agree with this? Yep. Okay, boom. Stamped and done. And then the DA had the nerve to tell me, well, I shouldn't even say that because she was cool with me. She came and told me like, hey, next time, or why didn't you get help? Right? I was like, I tried that. And they told me no. So that's why I'm here, because this is important to me, right? And she was like, oh, okay. Well, you can't do nothing but respect that. And, I got that shit done. And let me tell you, I walked out of there like I did the damn thing. And rightfully so, because it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of me being patient and a lot of hard work over the years. I can't even downplay that. I think I looked past the fact that I did a lot of hard work over the years, and it does call for some credit, and I think I saw that play out when I got what I needed. And I also knew I wasn't going to settle for anything less, because like I said, I did the work. Now, if I was constantly getting in trouble, doing shit that got me in trouble in the first place, then when it didn't work out in my favor, I can't be mad at anybody but myself. But when you have a record that just shows like, hey, this was a one-time mistake, I've corrected it, I've moved on, and now I'm just doing good things in my life, and this is just to move on to the next step. People see that. People notice that. Also, in a system where these people see tons of people in and out of their courthouse all day long, repeat offenders, people saying, I promise, so I didn't do this. And it's just, they can spot bullshit because they see it all day. So going in there trying to bullshit these people wasn't going to work. So I just went in there completely honest and transparent. Hey, I did the work. This is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm working towards. And it paid off. And I hope along the way, I could help other people out, because this was a journey. And let me tell you, it was one roadblock after another. I told you all the highlights, but some of these obstacles I came across, these people legit make it so hard for you once they have their claws in you, because they want you to get discouraged. They want you to get frustrated, right? Remember, a lot of us are in trouble because we lack that emotional intelligence, right? That ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Everybody in jail is in there based off emotion, right? Not knowing how to control themselves and act accordingly. So when they put these little roadblocks in your way to make you frustrated and give up, like, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to what I'm doing, don't give up. That's a sign that you're on the right track. And I think about it because last year, 2025, I started this process. I met resistance, and then I just was like, fuck it, I got a good job. I'm making money. I really don't need it. So what does it matter? And I blew it to the side because I met that little resistance. But this time around, I was like, you know what? Nah. I did my research. I told you I studied the law. I had ChatGPT break down the law. And yeah, I walked in there and I was prepared, right? But I also dressed the part too. I didn't show up in a ball cap and a t-shirt. No, I dressed up like this is serious business. This is my future. This is what I'm working towards. So there's a lot of things you need to do, from just the way you conduct yourself with these people, right? Not getting frustrated, not giving pushback. Hey, if it doesn't get submitted, it's all good, right? I knew when it came down to submitting the paperwork, if it got pushed back to me, all I was going to do was be like, okay, cool, make the correction, push it back, got pushed back again, another correction. They have to take it. They can't tell you what to sign, but they have to take it once everything's completed up to the par. So I wasn't even sweating that. I was going to submit it regardless. But then the way I constructed the packet, I took my time. I put in things that I could back up. I wasn't just blowing smoke up people's ass. I wasn't saying, hey, I did all this community service, or hey, I volunteered here, or I did this, and have nothing to back it up, right? Make sure you have facts that you could back up with evidence, because, men lie, women lie. And at the end of the day, if you got that paperwork that stands by what you're saying, you can't deny that, right? Then the way to showing up on time, right? Treating people with respect when I got there. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Right? And the way I presented myself appearance-wise. I showed up clean, ready to go. And one thing I'm going to touch on is I saw a lot of lawyers in there that, oh my God, dude, the way they were dressed, it looked like they literally just rolled over. Like they went to sleep in the clothes they were going to wear to court. They rolled over out of bed and just walked into court is how they looked. No combed hair, no lint roller on their fucking, get the lint off. I'd be surprised if they even brushed their teeth, right? So a lot of those people, I looked at just the way they present themselves, and that just lets me know, dude, you can't even take care of your appearance and how you show up to represent somebody in court. What does that paperwork look like, right? How is your housekeeping when it comes down to your case? Like, I had zero confidence. I felt bad for the people they were going in there to defend, because I was like, yeah, those people are going to jail, right? So, dude, like I said, just take it serious throughout this whole process, and you'll be surprised. And don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen, right? Because, like I said, I had a different plan, whereas if this didn't work, what I was going to move on to next was the pardon, right? But I also had another thing I could have did was, so there was 3 options. Reduce the felony to a misdemeanor, the misdemeanor off. Step 2, certificate of rehabilitation, right? Which means you just need a good, successful completion of probation, and the governor's pardon, right? So you could apply for the governor's pardon directly if you live out of state, which I qualify for. Or you could do the certificate of rehabilitation, which once that's granted, you're already automatically submitted to the pardon process. So it just depends on which route you want to go. So when I was meeting these roadblocks, I wasn't getting discouraged because I know I had different avenues, right? And a lot of that came down to the preparation, the research I did. And that's just with anything. I think the more time you invest in the preparation, setting things in order, the better the outcome, right? And it played out. But I'm going to cut this short because it looks like we're about 20 minutes, 22 minutes in. But the next video I come on, I'll actually show the paperwork, break down the paperwork, and show you what worked for me. My goal is to get people who want to get off this shit and do better. That's what I'm here for, right? I don't know everything. I know it worked for me, and I'm speaking what I did. There might be different avenues. People might have different laws that they could sway in their favor. I don't know. I'll speak to what I know. And yeah, I give the game away, bro. I'm not even tripping because at the end of the day, I know how it feels to have my back against the wall and feel like everybody's like working against you. So that's all I have. Take care. It's been a great process, and honestly, you'll feel a lot better once you complete it. So let's get it. You know, the more people who are out there just standing on business, being men, and taking that lick on the chin and doing better after, those are the people I want to help, right? So with that being said, peace.